Hold on 1 second. Streaming for Passport Global. All right, we in there. All right, so we are live on a Sunday evening. And today,
Sunday.
We got Obsession and Chris in the building. Hopefully a few more come in. Hopefully, yeah, I like the way my voice sounds. Hopefully, Black Sea to jump in, maybe Ian to jump in. I invited Dr. G, my homegirl. She's a Dr. G. She's a professional psychiatrist, Black woman from out of the Michigan area. I got RYE. Maybe she'll come in because I want women's opinion on this as well. So tonight's episode, I really want to talk about, which is called The Rise of the Democratic Shills. And right now we're in an election cycle. And for 3 years, we haven't heard much from these people, especially like the Crosses, the Andrew Gillums, the Angela Ryes, the Sanders, Simone Sanders, Charlemagne in his own weird way. And now we have a new one in the mix named PLIES, the CB4 rapper straight out of Low Cash, who's really just been like pandering not only to the Democratic Party, but trying to guilt shame us into voting into this thing called the Biden-Harris administration that has totally disregarded the American Black lifestyle and quality of life. And I just want to approach this from a nuanced perspective. And Chris, you being from Houston, can you say you see a difference from when we first started doing like stock classes and teaching people 4 years ago now into this Biden administration and the quality of life of Houston?
Yeah, of course.
In what way?
Well, your boy down here, the master investor. So, I feel like Houston is an opportunity city.
Okay.
So an influx of those type of people, influencers, they all moving down here. So all these gurus, they're moving down here, take advantage of, Texas as a whole, no state taxes.
The taxes, right?
Yeah. And, Houston is a beautiful city. It's cheaper than California. It's cheaper than New York. And it's starting to become the guru capital. From here to Austin, people who sell courses, they move down here. So, and stocks have been one of those things.
Well, here's the question though, like quality of life wise, do you see a difference under the Biden administration in a negative or positive way? I feel like I'm assuming it's going to be negative, but you tell us your vantage point.
That's tough because okay, I'll say this. It's negative because prices is starting to rise.
Okay.
On houses and stuff like that. So you got a lot of people downgrading their living a little bit. They going from, renting a house to an apartment. I know a few people that's done that. So I will say that. I can't really say on any other front, but that for sure.
All right, so you don't think that with the migrant crisis, even though y'all shipping them up to New York and Colorado and Chicago, now Atlanta, you don't see a different upswell as far as the Black community not wanting to vote for Biden again?
Well, Texas is a red state.
Well, I'm just saying in the Black community, Texas is definitely a hardcore red state, though. Definitely.
The thing about here is that shit, this is like Mexico anyway. So, you go further down deep South Texas, that's all you're gonna see. You go West Texas, that's all you're gonna see.
Facts.
So we kind of used to having, immigrants here for sure. But as far as the black community, you can't. I do feel that more black people are complaining about that too because they feel like their opportunities is going to them.
Exactly my point.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to get to.
Yeah, so for sure, yeah, definitely.
Okay. Now, do you think, from your vantage point, right? Because you're not like most of our community. You are a fisher, right? You're gonna go and get your own fish. You're gonna go and do what you have to do to, provide and survive, right?
Yeah.
But even in yourself, from your vantage point, do you think? See, I can tell you the truth. The direction I was going, and then I'll ask you. The direction I was going under the Trump administration, I was gonna be six figures if he got reelected. I'd have been six figures liquid.
Yeah.
Easy, right? Do you think, as just like I'm saying, just like opportunity wise, quality of life wise, do you think this administration negatively impacted that with their policies?
Yeah, absolutely. I can say I was a little bit richer when Trump was in office.
Right. Listen, that's all I wanted to know on your end. Obsession, being in New York City, Brooklyn, have you seen the direct impact of that Biden-Harris administration to impact you negatively?
150%. Yes, I have.
Go in about it.
First, let's get to the migrants, right? And not having good border policies, not securing the borders. New York City is flooded with migrants. They are everywhere. Right? They on the train selling candy. Every 2 stops, somebody's coming in with chocolate. Everywhere you go, they selling churros or whatever them shits is. Like, it's crazy. Okay, they either selling candy, begging, or whatever the fuck's going on. They're prioritizing them over the people that actually live here. They actually put the kids out of school for one day to house some migrants in there because they were at a shelter that was near a school and it was some bad weather. So they just told the kids, well, look, you're not coming to school today. You just stay home. We're going to let the migrants stay in here. So now that directly impacts families. So, New York City is a 2-income state, right? Unless you're making buco bucks, it's a 2-income state for most people. So when you abruptly tell a family that, well, your kids are going to be home, they have to now make arrangements because most people depend on school to be daycare to a certain degree. Right? They go to school, then maybe in the afternoon they go to after school. By the time they get out of there, one of the parents are home. And that's just kind of how it goes here. Like it's kind of like survival. It's how you get through. So when you start prioritizing people who are just hopping the fence, and you mentioned earlier that Texas is sending them to New York and other places, but truth be told, a lot of them are just finding their way here now. Like, they're skipping the middleman. Like, they're coming directly to New York because our mayor and our governor said we want them here. We're a sanctuary city and all that shit. And Texas tried to do something about securing the border, and they ended up all the way in Supreme Court fighting the Biden administration to allow them to do what they wanted to do down at the border. And that's crazy, man. So if we can't get like a cohesive plan together to do something about these people just coming to New York City and Boston and Chicago and wherever else they're going, then we're going to be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. And now they put money together to give migrants $1,000 a month here. I think something like $53 million. Now, all of this is directly, if you follow the trail, it goes right back to the Biden administration and weak border policies. Not to mention the inflation. A dollar can't get you anything in the store anymore up here. I know the prices may be a little different in other places, but we are officially at a place where $1 is not enough in New York City. Like, if you go in a corner bodega or wherever, You know, even a pack of peanuts that used to be 99 cents, it's now $1.29. And inflation is, again, goes right back to Biden. We're funding wars. Okay, we got the Ukraine, we got Israel. We were constantly sending money all over the place, and people, for the most part, can't afford to live where they were born. And this president isn't doing enough to fix that. And when Trump was in office, like, money was circulating. You know, like him or not, people had bread. Like him or not, you were able to make a couple of moves and make a few plans and make some investments. Now people are hoarding money because they don't know which way the wind is going to blow. And I feel the same way as a lot of individuals. So I truly believe that in November, barring he doesn't get put in prison, it's going to be Trump by landslide.
I agree with that. I think that, be honest with you, like, I think that if he doesn't get put in jail, I will be totally surprised if he doesn't get elected. Like, I just don't, when you look at New York City, when you look at Chicago, when you look at Los Angeles, and when you look at even Denver now, right? I think the average person hears everything what you said, and they have to make 1 + 1 = 2. Like, if you can't afford your life and you built this country, you were born in this country, but now you're going to open up because see, one of the things we don't really take into consideration is that, why was that his sole, like, purpose, right? Like, why was that his sole purpose to do that? If you remember, right after this whole, like, let's say after the first year of his of this administration, it went straight into this border thing, this migrant crisis. Like, he literally, like, it was just his business. Like, why was that an issue? And so when you look at all these Democratic shills who's come out of nowhere, right? So you got Charlemagne, who says he regrets bringing you Biden Harris, all while still continue to bring you Biden and Harris. Then you got Simone Sanders, who's tackling people on a campaign trail for Biden and Harris. You got PLIES, who we haven't heard anything from PLIES outside of him looking like Kirk Franklin in years, now telling you you're a fool because you don't vote for the Democratic Party. You got this Angela Rye, Andrew Gillum, talking this weird, goofy, just, y'all, and Tamika Cross, you know, y'all the oppressor, y'all need to read a book. And it's just like, what are you talking about? It's dynamic when you think about the lack of awareness of the black electorate. Like, do y'all not see what this man has done? And he's like, the one thing, right before this whole Democratic push for black people, which started about a month ago, you saw, if you went to Kamala's page, all you saw Kamala do was tout Hispanic new business opening. Oh, minority women this. It had nothing to do with your life, right, that she was preaching. Now you go on to Twitter and you see these fake statistics. Oh, black unemployment is the lowest in years. Oh, we put $3.8 billion into black businesses. Where? And then if it's black, what black? The migrant crisis black? Those people? Because it ain't Obsession getting it. It damn sure ain't Chris getting it. What black people are getting it?
It's all spin.
It's all spin.
Yeah. And
I'm challenging people to really, like, use their brains on this. This is not a joke. Me and Upset, listen, we see it. If you live in New York City, you can tell the difference from by year 2 of Biden till now. It is a total different place. Now, New York City was bad as far as the homelessness, but now you got the mentally ill mixed with the homeless, mixed with the migrants on the same street. And you don't know which is which when they approach you. And I think that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then you got people, hey, Obsession, play the one that PLIES, the one I just sent you, PLIES talking about we need to accept the migrants and shake their hands and, like, come on, man. Like, I think it's the last one I sent you from PLIES.
Hold on. Let me play. Hold on.
I'm going to turn the music off.
kill motherfucking Joe Biden and motherfucking Kamala Harris, because I'm sick of it. Can somebody teach y'all how to motherfucking brag? Motherfucking stock market doing way better under y'all than it did under him.
You hear this, Chris?
Way better under y'all than it did under him. Motherfucking GDP. People wages at the bottom going up more than the people wages at the top. Inflation going down. Gas prices going down.
Pause that. Did this man just say people wages at the bottom is going up way more than the wages at the top?
That's crazy.
And he also said inflation is going down.
Bruh. Listen, man.
This is the problem with rappers, man. Like, I mean, you're not even a good rapper. Bro, you're a rapper from back in the day. All right, and this is you holding on.
Me and him go at it on Twitter, bro. I call that. I really got to see before hashtag trended because of him. Because like, what are you talking about? So, and we got to finish playing that clip, but Chris noticed, like I noticed, right? Obsession. Thursday night, I made $4,000 because Amazon went up $11. Right? It went from like 158 to like 171.92. Right? And so because I own a certain amount of shares of Amazon, my value went up $4,000. Right? Now, when stocks usually do that, it's not because Main Street is doing well. It's because corporate margins are doing well, right?
Yeah.
So for him to say that foolishness, talking about people on the low wages, are you crazy?
Like he mentioned in the stock market, like all these people are investing in it or something. Like that's making their lives better.
Bruh. Finish playing that clip Obsession, man. This guy.
Come on, man.
You blow some shit up over there in the Middle East. Get your ass out here and brag about it. How you think I know you got a motherfucking Corvette, Joe? Huh? Cause you a motherfucking bragging. How you think I know Kamala know how to motherfucking dance? Cause she motherfucking shoulder. You think if you had 91 motherfucking charges on you, he wouldn't be over there motherfucking talking about it? What you think the motherfucking NFL doing right now, motherfucking Taylor Swift, Joe? Motherfucking bragging. They saying she had all the events. She ain't at the NBA. She ain't at the NHL. She ain't at the MLB. She had all shit. Even motherfucking Creflo Dollar bragging. Fuck you think all them Rolls Royces is and shit. You went and ate lunch at them little motherfucking black kids' house in the motherfucking wherever they was. How you think we motherfucking found out about it? You ain't tell us. They snuck and motherfucking recorded because they was motherfucking bragging. And y'all can't figure out how to motherfucking brag. Student loan forgetting. Get your ass out here and brag about it. Y'all get some money. Get your ass out here and brag about it. You got some motherfucking celebrities out of prison too. Get motherfucking Brendan Grind at your motherfucking motherfucking party. It ain't your motherfucking fault America loves.
All right, you can say that. Listen.
Yeah, man.
Listen. First of all, once again, student loan only went to the public sector or the service people, which is basically the public sector, right? So we got to stop with this student loan thing, right? That's number one. Number two, if he thinks that the Biden administration did not highlight him going to that black family's house.
You got to be out of your fucking mind.
You come on, my man. Come on. They shooting because they bragging. Like, yo, first of all, now this is what's crazy about this post. Simone Sanders, who we gonna talk about next, she posted it and said, you take away the curse words, all he's saying is true. Like, what? And now this is a woman that's on MSNBC. Crazy. Damn near every day. This man is touting stuff that, one, he doesn't know about. To say that the wages on the bottom has overtaken the wages, are outpacing the wages at the top, it is literally, it is the biggest crock. you'll ever, if that's the case, then you won't hear people complaining about inflation. You won't hear people complain about rent. You won't hear people complain about groceries. How is the wages on the bottom overtaking the wages at the top?
Yeah.
And that's just me being honest from a person who understands investing. So if you had, just think about this. If you had $2 million and you said, okay, I'm just going to put into a dividend stock that pays me 50 cents per share, you will literally outpace, and within the second year of getting your dividends, you will literally outpace someone who's making $60,000 a year. And you can just sit up, you can sit at home and go like this. So what is he talking about? Right? It's just like people are just retarded, man. And it's like, do you have the clip I sent you when he talking about look at the one where it says you gotta, I think I sent you two of him when he was talking about you gotta celebrate the migrants. You gotta play that one. That one is the craziest.
Wow.
Hold on, let me see something.
That's crazy.
When you hear this, Chris, I'm telling you, bro, when you hear this one.
That's crazy. America is a dangerous place, man.
Bro. bro. when you hear the one when he talking about the migrants, bro, and you being in Texas, you wait till you hear this. Is nothing. This is I've never. Now listen, we know Charlamagne say some crazy stuff.
Immigrant.
We know Angela RYE say some crazy
I
stuff.
had a conversation with motherfucker about immigrant. Motherfucker said, oh, they just come over here and they take our job. Check y'all jobs. What motherfucking job? The job that nobody don't want. The job that everybody think they too motherfucking good for anyway. The motherfucking people walk 17 motherfucking days. Sleeping motherfucking aluminum floor for 8-9 motherfucking months in the rain, sun, every motherfucking thing. Swim across the motherfucking Atlantic Ocean. Just the motherfucker come over here to provide a motherfucking service. And y'all don't want a motherfucking over here? You're supposed to be greeting the motherfuckers at the border with motherfucking old moms if you like me.
What?
Need to be throwing them a motherfucking immigrant day. Y'all gave motherfucking Christopher Columbus a motherfucking day. And he's the biggest motherfucking thug in American motherfucking history. And you want me to motherfucking believe that they coming over here taking your motherfucking job. The reason y'all scared of the motherfuckers coming over here is the fact that they gonna come over here and show people what hard work really motherfucking is. That's what y'all privileged motherfuckers scared on. I ain't never heard no motherfucking in the hood talking about no motherfucking immigrant took their motherfucking job. I ain't heard now motherfucking scribble. I ain't never heard a motherfucker say, I went to King of Diamonds and they didn't give me the job, they gave me the Isabel. I ain't motherfucking heard that. Not motherfucking me. But y'all want a motherfucker to believe every time a motherfucking election coming around, oh, y'all motherfucking scared of the immigrants, the motherfucking boogeyman. But the whole motherfucking time they cut your motherfucking grass and cleaning your motherfucking house, you ain't asking them people that they got a motherfucking green card, a pink card, and none of that shit. But y'all want to act like they taking something from motherfucking. We supposed to be at the motherfucking border with motherfucking old moms, you guys me, by some motherfucking immigrant.
Okay, all right. I think we get the point.
Bro, Chris.
That shit is just hard to listen to, bro.
Chris,
like, every other word
Chris?
is motherfucking.
Yo, did you hear?
Hold on. I got a message from our good sister. May she rest in power, Della Reese, to PLIES.
Kiss my entire ass.
Thank you.
Yo, yo, Chris, you live in Texas, bro. Do you understand how dangerous what he just said was, man? Like, so let's just say he lived in New York, and let's just say PLIES was like on the street saying that in New York, right? Where a dude just came from his second job on his way to his third job just to survive while he listened on his phone that these people are getting $3,000 a month, hotel stays, free healthcare, job training, job placement, and now are being considered to be rushed into citizenship just so they could vote for the Democratic Party.
Yep.
and we supposed to give them high fives, he said, because they slept in fire. Come on, man. Yo, what you got on that, Chris?
That dude's an idiot, man. And social media, like, if you get a nigga like that, and he get a microphone saying shit like that, you can go ahead and just give Biden them the win, because people are gonna believe that shit. I'm just like, how? This nigga sounds stupid.
Yo, that is ridiculous, bro. I just don't get it. I really don't. I don't. Like, for him, obviously, listen, anyone who don't think he's getting paid for that, because if you go on his Twitter, if you go on PLIES Twitter right now, his interaction is up like 300%. So someone is padding his pockets.
It got to be. He got to be paid to be saying stuff like that, man.
There should be no. Listen, he's not let's be honest. There should be no C-list celebrity that is a black man telling another poor black man that you should be giving a high five to an illegal migrant.
Crazy.
Period.
And you can't get nothing. You can't get
nothing. Now you know what's crazy? In the last post that we just played from PLIES, he's undergirding Biden administration by saying wages is going up, right? And student loans. You understand? But anyone who works understand that's a lie. And not only is he not doing that, he's giving all of your taxpayer dollars into them. Yep. Eric Adams said in New York City, and Obsession can attest to this, Eric Adams told the rich people in New York, y'all just got to pay a little bit more taxes.
Yep.
Yo, you know what I mean? Rich people going to leave. Come on, man. Yo, New York, I'm letting y'all know, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania will be a hardcore red state in November. Am I lying, Obsession?
Nah, you're not lying. I mean, more and more conversations are being had around politics from people that wouldn't normally discuss politics with me. So, you know, it's surprising that people are paying attention. I guess because when it becomes a pocketbook issue, you start to try to figure out, well, why is this happening? And how did we get here so we could figure our way out of it? So I do see, I mean, more men than women, to be honest with you. But I do know some women who are leaning more toward Trump. Like, I could think of like two offhand that I have conversations with on a regular basis, and they basically are saying they're voting for Trump. So it's not all, but I'm sure most of the sisterhood is just on some, we want to see Kamala, because I've had women tell me specifically, like, we had our Obama, they have to have their Kamala, it's only right, which is ridiculous. But I mean, I've literally heard that. So yeah, and going back to PLIES for a second, you know, he said something about jobs that people up here don't want. That's bullshit, because if you walk past any construction site here in New York City, for the most part, you see a gang of Latinos, a lot of Mexicans, Guatemalans, a lot of them Guala niggas. They definitely the ones at these construction sites. You telling me that a black man, an Italian dude, whoever, don't want one of those jobs? Those jobs pay decent.
Yeah.
Those aren't jobs that people don't want, you know, but they hire them because they know they can pay them less money. They know they could pay them under the table. So they get away with it, you know? So I have to push back and totally disagree with him. I mean, I don't agree with damn near anything he said. I mean, if you can understand it, every other word was motherfucker. You know, if you played a fucking drinking game and you said you're going to take a shot every time he say motherfucker, you be drunk in the first two sentences.
Yeah.
So why are we even listening to someone like this? Like he's not capable. But you're right, Chris. If people hear him on a microphone talking like that, you know, a lot of people are followers. The sheep will be like, well, PLIES said it, because they're entertained by his ghetto antics on Twitter and Instagram. You know, they'll gravitate towards that. Well, I'm not going to put myself in that, but a lot of people aren't deep thinkers. Like, they're very surface level. So if you say something that kind of sounds like it makes sense, they'll flow with that. Even though it's totally ridiculous. Like, all of that shit he's saying, but they're going to come here and show you what hard work is. nigga, get the fuck out of here. And you know what? The truth be told, you're supposed to work smarter, not harder.
Not harder. Exactly.
Right. Absolutely.
And why in America? See, and this is another reason why what he said is dangerous, right? See, in America, we act like, and Obsession knows this too, and Chris knows this. We act like it was a trophy to have 3 jobs in the 1980s and 90s. It wasn't. Your goal was to get that factory job, work your 40 hours, come home to your family if you had a family, not get 2 hours of sleep, go to work, go get an hour nap, go to work, right? Come back home, eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, go to work, and still don't have no money. So you telling me it is a prize for them to come and work 18 menial labor jobs when this is America where you were born in? Your mom and dad didn't have to do that.
Right.
So why is it, so I'm supposed to celebrate that? And see, this is why I had to bring him into that conversation, because not only is he getting paid to say that, but like, you gotta act like, what type of sellout are you to tell your own people to high five someone that's not only coming over here, they're being ushered over here and paid to be here while you work?
Yep.
Like, what type of, like, what? You're not even on my team?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, man, but I gotta listen
And
to you.
You know
say,
what?
"Give
You
me
know what
that
else?
biscuit."
Yeah, you know what else we miss? They usually dump them in our neighborhoods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't vote the way we vote. They vote against us, right? Whatever policy we usually lean towards, a lot of Latinos lean the other way. You know, especially if you go down to Florida, like Cubans have historically voted red.
Hardcore
Now,
Republican.
not that
Hardcore.
that's always a bad thing, because I consider myself to be a conservative, but you know, I'm not a Republican. You know,
Right.
I have conservative views and values, but you know, I'm liberal on some things. I'm not one of anything.
Right.
But usually they come and vote against most of the policies that we prefer, almost exclusively. So they don't even benefit us. So now if you just letting them come pile up in here, and you know, you're giving them driver's license, and then you're giving them a place to stay, you're giving them money. Some Latinos, some of the migrants just beat some police up here in New York City in Times
Absolutely.
Square.
Speaking of the cops.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, that was the ambulance. But yeah, they beat them up. They beat the cops up, got arrested, and got let go because of bail reform here in New York City. They let them out, no bail. I'm sure they got to go to court, but they right back on the street, and the news was out there, and they putting their middle fingers up. If you go online and look it up, you'll find it. They just got their middle fingers up, like fuck y'all. We're gonna do what we want to do. So now you're here. You're unruly. You causing havoc, and you're using up resources, and we have to fucking pay for you. Come on, man.
Yo,
no, Biden's America is a terrible place, bro.
It's a terrible.
They're gonna start some riots, man.
Yo, that deserves a jewel right there. Nah, I'm with it. I'm with that. Get to the Simone Sanders clip, Obsession. I want to talk about that real quick.
79,000 write-in votes in New Hampshire.
Yes. For President Biden.
For President Biden.
He beat Dean Phillips by 50,000 votes.
55,000.
Which is relevant as it relates to this question of enthusiasm. Yes, there is an enthusiasm for the president. But and some of what the congressman said is correct. There are people that say, we would like choice. To those people, I say, yes, but now is not the time. Like, I would like to be a size 6. Okay, but that means I got to go to the gym. That means I can't eat them Oreos at night. That means I probably need to not put no sugar in my coffee. I'm not a 6.
Yeah, you got to make the choice.
You got to make the choice. I got to make the choice early to be a 6. I can't wake up and be a 6 by, June.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why I tried to make the point about the difference between 2008, 2016, and now. Our electorate has changed dramatically in that very, very short span of time. and it's not the same race. And it's frustrating to listen to a lot of pundits and candidates out here running this race for the president as if it's the same old same. It is not. And I think that 55,000 vote
makes a difference.
Makes a difference.
That's an interesting thing, right, Chris, and Black Seed and Obsession. So you got a woman who is literally telling people that now the people said they didn't vote in that primary heavy because they didn't like the choices in South Carolina because they really didn't want to vote for Biden, but they understood Marianne Williamson was not a viable candidate, and I forgot the other one. And she took it upon herself to say, it's about choice, but you got to make the choice early. What does that mean? You cannot select these people in these primaries. You can only vote for the people they offer you in these primaries. So what do you have to eating Oreos and having a size 16 waist have to do with actual voting in a primary election? And to use that analogy in front of other political pundits and somebody saying, well, what do you want to be a size 6 have to do with people actually wanting viable candidates? Like, what are we talking? Like, once again, what are we talking about politically to even make that type of analogy?
Crazy.
Does that make sense?
No.
What I think is it's one of those times where someone would say some shit that's like it sounds smart to a dumb nigga. You know what I mean? Like she thought she said something fly, and you be like, yeah, that kind of makes sense, when it really didn't make sense at all. It was just word salad, just some jumbo bullshit that she pulled out of her ass that really didn't connect.
Yep.
You know, and the guy that spoke after her, like if you listen to how he was like trying to make it all make sense. Let me play that last part.
Like, I would like to be a size 6. Okay, but that means I got to go to the gym. That means I can't eat them Oreos at night. That means I probably need to not put no sugar in my coffee. I'm not a 6.
You hear the nervous laugh. Hold on.
You got to make the choice.
You got to make the choice. I got to make the choice early to be a 6. I can't wake up and be a 6 by, June.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why I tried to make.
See, he was like, let me try to put the genie back in the bottle because that didn't make sense. Let me try to put a button on this.
He said, "Put the genie back in the bottle."
Let me put a button on this because it didn't make sense.
Snap.
So he, the fuck out of here.
Yo, hey, Black Seed, you having a political mind, Black Seed. What does that mean? What she just said, Black Seed? Can you hear us, Black Seed? You probably don't know.
Yeah, I can hear you. Peace.
Yo, what does that mean, bro? I want you to try to figure out why would she use the analogy of her wanting to be a size 6 to a person actually voting in the primary and actually want viable candidates. Like, what does that mean?
I mean, I don't know, bro. Essentially, I think the brother called it. She thought she was being like witty, you know what I'm saying? Trying to use some type of like metaphor or some type of like, symbolism, but it didn't really make sense. And the dude behind her basically, instead of saying, but, he said, here's the thing, you know what I'm saying? Which people try to do basically to kind of, like you said, like that brother said, smooth it over so it doesn't sound like I'm saying, coming through and being like, basically nullifying what you said previously. So I don't know, man. I was just listening to you kind of break that down, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, yeah, what does she mean by you needed to make your choice earlier? I mean, how much earlier will you know who's going to run for the presidency of the United States, as being in the case? So, I'm not sure, fam. I'm gonna be honest with you, man.
And my thing is, Black Seed, is like you and I both know, because we know politics, you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice of who's on that in that ballot for the primary.
Yeah. You're already going to have people who are going to be selected amongst the party.
And it's a money game, right? It's a money game. Yeah. So it's like, So this is let me give y'all the translation. They had a horrible turnout yesterday in South Carolina. I'm talking about. I think if you look it up, it was horrible. That's how Biden won with 90%. It wasn't like how there was a huge turnout in New Hampshire for Trump, but there was a horrible turnout for him in South Carolina. And then so what they did was try to make it seem like, well, the people who voted, they voted because they just know. So that they like Obsession said, the spin was, oh, he won over 95%. So there is a groundswell behind him. But the numbers show that it wasn't because no one turned out to vote. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, this is why this is the rise of the Democratic shills, man. They are just out here to tell you anything and everything. And this is why you got to kind of like, listen, I get propaganda. Right. I get it, right? Policy for us is everything at this point. But you got to just recognize that these last 4 years for our demographic, it's just been disastrous. And that's why they're just pulling everything out. You heard what PLIES said. You heard what she said. Yet now this is on MSNBC. And you know what's crazy, y'all? She doubled down on it. She retweeted and said, well, was I wrong? I was like, what? Bruh.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy, man. Yeah. But a Obsession. Let's go into the elitist side of this whole thing about like Angela RYE and Cross and Andrew Gillum, right? Let's go into like the elitist side of it. Because they are a bunch of like boule elitists that blame you for their transgressions, right? So there's a point in the Breakfast Club interview where Cross tells you that you need to learn how to read a book, learn how to get off the internet and actually read articles politically so you'll know what the Democratic Party has done. Play that clip if you remember, Obsession. I think it was at like the 8-minute mark, right, when she said that?
Oh, let me check.
They retreat their safety and security. Because if they can take this dude down, then what about me?
Do to me?
Right. And that's the intention of it. That is the intention of it. Don't be too bold. Don't be too real. Don't speak too honest the truth. We have to present, like, if these negresses get too out of hand, we are going to castrate you on some level. I think that happens all the time. So right. Castrate. It is important to show, like, hey, I'm still here. I ain't never gone nowhere. We are all still here. We're all still standing. And even if like the faces look different, right? But it still represents the same thing. So it is, I would say, Andrew, and for all of us who have ever found ourselves in the public eye in a negative way, to the mass consumers out there, don't do the conservative white man's bidding for him. Stop spreading bullshit on the internet. Stop spreading salacious things on the internet to get likes. Stop spreading like they expect you to do that. Sure. They're like, we're going to spoon feed this to you because we know that you will be the person to carry this to the community, whether it be right-wing talking points or an effort to take out one of your leaders.
But what you said earlier is lazy journalism, and the fact that people don't want to actually read. They chase headlines and clicks. Yeah. And I was going to ask, does it bother you that it's a lot of times in both your situations, in Angela RYE as well, where it's the people that look like you that's attacking you more?
It is a problem. That is a problem. Part of it is, I think, social media, which just erodes intellect in a lot of ways. Read a paper and stop scrolling through Instagram looking at nonsense. But also, even as it impacts lazy journalism, look, the oppressor does not have to look like them. Sometimes the oppressor looks like you. Sometimes they select, I'm going to pick you, the overseer, because I know you are a weak one who can be bought and sold. And I know I can send you out to the path to keep all the other Negroes and Negresses in check. And you have to look at yourself like, what side, if history steps back and judge me, what side am I on? And look,
right,
if you look at history, there's always...
Yo, Black Seed, did you hear what she just said?
Bro, I was just about to ask. I said, did she say negresses? But then she repeated this shit again, right?
But,
so I was like,
but listen to the point that she just said, though. This is what I want people whoever watched this video to understand. They have this like, when it's them, because it's, listen to what she's basically saying. You know, she got fired from her job. You know what happened to Gillum, and you know, Angela RYE is Angela RYE, right? So what they do is they make it seem like we sold them out for them to be cast out of this like circle. And then it's our fault because like she said, we go on Instagram and Twitter or social media, which she said erodes your intellect, right? To promote right-wing talking points. But here's the thing, Black C, and you see it. Where do you see more Democratic push and Democratic talking points than Twitter? They the ones that's forcing it down your throat. Yeah. So because you got to do your podcast now instead of being paid by MSNBC, that's our fault. And then she said, we serve, you heard what she said, the oppressor doesn't have to look like them. It could be you. How do we oppress
as the overseer?
Right. Yeah. How are we doing that? What has she ever done for you?
The whole language, man. That's what I was getting at too. Just to add to what you were saying. I mean, the whole language is the overseer and the Negroes and the Negresses, and then you talking about, you know, I mean, it's just, to me, I'm like, come on, man. All of this code language and shit that you kick in, you know, like we on the plantation and all that shit. They need to stop it with that shit. Then it almost sounds like at the end of the day, they describing themselves to an extent. If you want to be real about this shit.
They are describing themselves. That's my whole point. It's to the point where it's like, if you're not one of us, then you can't do it. But since we who we are, if you don't, and this is why me and you have these conversations. This is why I say, this election, you're gonna see the black male vote go this way, and the black female vote go the other way. You know what I'm saying? Because how do you have the gall to tell me how to vote and then how to even take in information? She's telling you how to take in information. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but you know what's crazy? Tell me one thing that your party that you keep feeding us have done for us and show me an actual number. They won't do it. But then you'll tell us to read a newspaper. That like, what are we talking about? Yeah. That shit is weird.
You know, I think that a couple of things going on with the so-called Boule class, which a lot of them are part of, you know, the talentless 10th, not the talented 10th, you know, that whole bullshit. I think the problem with Tiffany Cross and people of her ilk, the things that matter to them don't matter to us. And when I say us, I mean the everyday, hardworking, honest to God, red-blooded Black American male out here trying to get it. For one, they're always talking about student loan forgiveness and all of that. When you check it, most of us didn't go to college. You know, most Black people did not go to college and don't have student loans to forgive. You know, that means something to them because a lot of them do. A lot of those people you see on MSNBC, the so-called Negro whisperers, because that's why they got these jobs, because they went to these companies and told them, well, look, I have a certain amount of influence on Black people. So when it's time, I can get these folks in line. Now they're losing these jobs because they're starting to see that they actually can't deliver. You know, we see it with Stacey Abrams. We saw it twice with Stacey Abrams, you know, saying just, we can get these votes. We can get this woman in office and, you know, the Black people going to come through and everything is going to work out. And, you know, and time again, you know, even Roland Martin, if we go back to when he was on TV One and they got rid of him because he couldn't deliver the way he kind of portrayed things, like he had more influence over Black people than he really do. Like he's not someone that we would consider Black grassroots, even though that's his whole shtick. Like that's how he tries to portray himself, like he in the soil, he in the mud, but a lot of people don't take him serious. And, you know, when it comes to Tiffany Cross and Angela RYE and the rest of them, when they come and speak to us, it's always speaking down to us. They never talk to us like we have sense. They talk to us like we the dumb Negroes who are in the way, and we need to just do what they say and get in line and read a book. And and one more point, a lot of the articles and stuff that are written by these blog sites are their friends. They homies. They ski-wee sisters. It's them. And so that's why they want to push us towards that, because that's who's giving us the information. They homies. This is just another way to kind of backdoor influence, in my opinion.
It's so absolutely. Bad now, we've historically voted against our own interests. But now, when a lot of truth is starting to come out, you can kind of see different things and be like, well, these motherfuckers ain't did nothing for us. Why should I vote for Biden? I ain't doing better now than I was doing a couple years ago. So shit, I'm gonna vote for Trump. But then you get all this extra propaganda coming out. Now they trying hard to get other black people to be the taskmasters. Hey, y'all need to learn how to read. Y'all need to know how to do this and that. It's just like they beating you with a whip for them so you can keep them on top. And I'm just like, that don't make any sense. That sounds crazy.
Yeah. That was a jewel right there for getting the whip out.
I'm like,
it's a class what's crazy? What's crazy, man, not to cut you, it's like the first go round with Trump, they were able to make him into the boogeyman. We got to get the boogeyman out of office and get Joe Biden in there, right? Now, when they come to us and try to boogeyman us with Trump, it's like, well, Trump's a bad guy. And you're like, well, I'm hungry. Well, Trump's a womanizer and, he molested this woman. And you're like, well, my kids are hungry. Well, Trump, he's a racist. Well, I can't really afford my rent. Well, Trump's, he's going to turn the country into a dictatorship. Well, I can't afford to live in the country. So, you're faced now with pocketbook issues and people just really being able to fend for themselves and their family. So the boogeymaning isn't working anymore. You need to give me something that's more substantive, something that I can work with, something that I can say, okay, well, if I vote for Biden again, these are the policies that he's going to put in place. So I'm in a better position to take care of my family, that Zennials, millennials can actually afford a home in their lifetime. Because when where it sits now, you can't really see your way through because there's just so much uncertainty at the moment with the migrant crisis, with inflation, with all these wars going on. You got Israel, you got over with Russia and the Ukraine. Inflation is crazy. Everything is expensive. So there's really no light at the end of the tunnel yet. Like there's no direction to point to say, okay, we got to go this way or that way. And then you got Trump sitting on the backdrop of all that, and people like, well, damn, was it that bad under him, or did they just boogeyman us really well?
I think I might be willing to. Exactly,
I think I may be willing to give Trump another try, and I think that's kind of where we are.
And let me say this, and hold on, let me say this real quick. And this is another thing that shows you like how influences like dictate people the way people think, right? If you think about in 2024 right now with the migrant crisis, right? And let me just say this real quick before I go into my point. For the rest of America that's not of the Democratic Party or independent or Republican, it's the migrant crisis. For the Democratic Party, you know what they call it? The humanitarian. Like you call it the humanitarian crisis, but that's a whole different, right? That's a whole different thing. But let's go into it like what you just said. I want everybody to think about this, right? Even though I'm an independent, I don't, because I understand the game. Me and Chris used to always talk about this in stock, like, yo, who is going to put more money in our pocket, right? But even though I'm a independent, when Trump first ran, I was like, why are black people against the concept of Make America Great Again? Now, do you see how many black people are wearing MAGA hats?
Yeah.
And I used to say to black people, what is wrong? Okay, if and you know how I feel about Obama. If Barack Obama would have said, Make America Great Again, would that have been an issue?
No.
Then why
And
was
really,
it
really,
a problem when Orange Head Trump said it, and then it automatically became a racial nomenclature? Right? You understand what I'm saying? And so
yeah.
even in the next clip that I'm about to put, that Obsession's about to play, where Charlemagne says Joe Biden has always been a horrible elected official, but I can't vote for Trump because it's the end of democracy, as if Trump wasn't already president 4 years ago and the democracy is still here.
Right.
It's always boogeyman talk. That's why I just wanted to add that to that. Like, it's always a boogeyman concept that doesn't exist.
Yeah. And to go with what Obsession said about, inflation and this, and when PLIES said the stock market is up, and I'm just like, dude, do you think the average person is invested in the stock market? What does that have to do with anything? That the stock market and the economy are not the same. They're two different things. So the stock market being up, those people you speaking to, you think that's benefiting them? I'm just like, dude, what are you talking about? You don't know shit about the stock market except for it being up. And I hate when they say that, because they do that a lot. And people don't really understand. If you're not even invested, the stock market, it ain't benefiting you none. So you don't look at that and be like, oh yeah, well, I'm making more money. How? How you still paying for more at the store? You know what I'm saying? Your rent is up, your light bill is up, your insurance is up, but the stock market ain't helping you. I just like, why is he using that point to try to get people on this wave? And I'm just like, that man got to be getting paid. That's definitely propaganda.
I agree with you, man.
I agree.
Yeah, I think we need to call PLIES ass to the front office. I think he need an ass whooping.
Real talk.
It's a dangerous thing to have these talking points when you're not. Listen, man. Listen, y'all. It was my man Ibrahim who said it. He was like, "Guess what, y'all? They gonna blame us again." And I'm like, Ibrahim, I want black. Blame me. If Trump gets real, blame me, because I said this on Obsession Show 4 years ago, almost to this day. I said, I'm gonna keep score. For all you Kamala's black, I'm gonna keep score. Remember that Obsession? I said, I'm gonna keep score because y'all are silly. And I showed this a week ago on Ibrahim's show, and I'll say it again. And I said it when we did the whole Gayle King thing. If me, Chris, Black Seed, and Obsession was going to a black woman's cookout and we gave them Vivek Ramaswamy as another black man to the cookout, they said, you don't get this in. They would literally laugh us out the backyard. But then you got to see videos of Kamala dancing off beat, going like this. Go, sis. Like, what are you talking about? Like, yo, the hypocrisy of it. That woman is a Brahmin Indian. It is a difference. Just because she's brown skinned does not make her. And you know what's crazy, Obsession? If me and you were walking down Fulton right now, right? And we saw a Indian woman, every black girl would walk past her like they ain't her sister.
Yo, I always go to the Kendrick Lamar video, that where he said he want a girl with natural hair and all of that good shit, and women drug him on Twitter for damn near 2 months. He got death threats. They said the girl in the video ain't black meghan She don't have 4C hair and she ain't dark enough. They was on his neck. But Meghan Markle is black enough. That's because she got that white prince. So Meghan Markle is black enough. But the girl in Kendrick's video, she's not. Hypocrisy, my brother.
Definitely. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. That is dangerous, bro. That is totally. Yo, do you
Since
understand
y'all
it?
asked,
Do you understand the concept of that, though? Do you understand the concept
I
that
think
if we brought Vivek Ramaswamy to like anything but a Trini cookout. So I'm such to know why I say that, because of like the West Indian Day parade in Eastern Parkway, where you'll see a certain amount of East Indians because of the Trini migration, right? But if we were in Houston and we brought Vivek Ramaswamy to North Houston for a cookout amongst black folks, and we be like, look at our black brother. Look at our black brother. They go like, what?
Like, that nigga ain't black. What you talking about?
And this is why I always tell people book clubs are great, but movies from especially the 70s, blaxploitation films, but one good movie that shows that dynamic is Mississippi Masala. Mississippi. So you tell me no black woman saw Mississippi Masala and saw how Denzel was treated by the father in the family when he wanted that Indian woman?
If she can't use your comb, don't bring her home.
But Kamala is a black woman. It's just the weirdest thing. And if another person tell me about her Jamaican father, because you could literally go on Google and look up her father and see he's nothing but a Brahmin Indian via proxy of Jamaica, who father owned slaves too. I said they're Brahmin. You know how many articles her mom and her aunt wrote about the reason why she's successful is because of her Brahmin mother and aunt?
Like, yeah, and her pops don't even rock with her, though.
Pops don't even rock with her. Come on, man. That's what I say.
I think President Biden historically has been a lack of a better word. I think President Biden historically has been a lack of a better word, a shitty elected official. But, you know, Donald Trump is the end of democracy as we know it.
So you'd vote for Biden again? I'm
not saying either or, but I think, you know, since y'all ask answers, because that's what y'all do on CNN, you like to ask answers, like you ask. Well, I mean, what I said is you asked is if Donald Trump was black, you know, would he get locked up? You know the answer to that.
But I mean, right? I don't know the end. So you are going to vote for Joe Biden?
I think it's simple and plain. Like, you know, if you Donald Trump is the end of democracy as we know it. I don't know what to tell people. And I know it sounds, when you say that now in 2024, you've heard it so much because every time, you know, there's a Republican candidate, people say, oh, it's the end of democracy. He's people go so far as to say, oh, he's the Antichrist. Like, but this is one of those times where, you know, it really actually positively is true. I think.
Yeah.
Yo, Black Seed, bro. The end of democracy, bro. The end of democracy. Like, what do you think about that, Chris or Obsession?
I'm just saying, when are we going to stop allowing Charlemagne to run around and pretend that he's smart?
That's deep. That's deep. And you know what he said in that clip? He said that my people come to me and be like, yo, why did you give us these people? So that shows you the influence of these people in politics, right? And like you said, why do we give him deference? This is the same man that, to his face, Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. It had no retort for that. You ain't even have a comeback for
it. That was crazy, too. Nobody.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yo.
Man.
We're doing the same thing with Charlemagne that we did with Steve Harvey. We allowed Steve Harvey to be this love guru.
Oh my God.
And now we're doing the same thing with Charlemagne. Like, if you don't get the hell out of here, what makes you qualified?
What makes you qualified? But more importantly, how do you see the most important thing, and I've said this already on the show, the most important thing he said, though, was Biden has always been a horrible elected official.
Right.
The crime bill.
So the crime bill, right? Don't forget the corn pop story when he was trying to say why he don't want integrated schools. And, you know, that was
I was just about to get to that.
Yeah, go ahead. Go get into it. You going on.
No. I was just going to mention it.
Yeah, like the corn pop story about the gang member and the, I don't swimming pool and all. Like these people act like, and this is why I don't care what anybody say, because we're in a different time now. This is why Obama is like, let me see, the worst president outside of Biden, because to me, Biden-Harris presidency is the worst administration from my eyes been open since I came out the womb. But Obama, we gonna look back at that and understand how dangerous he was to you, because he's giving you Biden ultimately. In his 4 years, he destroyed Black wealth. He destroyed Black home ownership. He told you I'm Black when he ran, and as soon as he got in the office, said, well, listen, I'm everyone's president, and listen, guys, you don't get nothing, but you get this picture that you hang next to your wooden fork in Jesus, and your grandma could feel good about herself. And then leave
right
office,
next to Martin Luther King,
bro. And then leave office and become like this super elitist in his interviews. If you listen to him now, when he campaigns, what did he tell you? Get Pookie off the couch. Get Pookie and Ray Ray off the couch. Come on, man. And his daughter's out here handing out vagina like lunch tickets and smoking cigarettes on motorcycles. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not lunch tickets.
Bruh. And so think about this man ran on being Black, had a Black preacher until he had to denounce him, right? Everything was about him being Black until it was time for policy, until it was time for him to actually do politics. And then a kid gets shot and he go, amazing grace. Like, what? You know how insulting that is?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and anyone, and I mean anyone who don't understand like true politics, don't understand how much he wasted your first honestly, his worst administration was the first 4 years. Them 2 years when he put all that BS behind Obamacare instead of the Jobs Act. And then what happens? He knew he lost the House and the Senate for the rest of his election, if he even got reelected. He knew that. But when he ran on the second term, even though he knew he wasn't going to get the House back, he goes on the Jobs Act, knowing that those folk wasn't going to give him the Jobs Act. Because when you had it, I always tell people, if you think a person with no money is worried about getting his teeth clean in comparison to actually getting money to getting his teeth clean, then you stupid. The Obamacare, you can't even buy into it for the most part. And then secondly, you didn't have the job to buy into it. If you would have did the Jobs Act, where you'd have had a certain amount of money towards infrastructure in every city and every state, and actually promoted manufacturing like you claim you was running on the second term, then you could have did Obamacare because niggas was working. Right. No, I'm gonna give you Obamacare, but you ain't got no job to pay for Obamacare, but you got Obamacare.
And my biggest problem with Obamacare was the individual mandate. Like you had to buy into it, or you got or you got penalized during tax season. You had to pay first. I think it started at 2,000 and it went up and went up, so it increased. So it wasn't even like you could say, I'm gonna just take that $2,000 hit every year and not buy this shit. It went from 2 to 6,000 to 10,000. You're like, yo. So they were literally forcing you to buy into the system that you really couldn't afford, and you couldn't keep your doctors like they said you could. And it was a whole bunch of lies. So when the Republicans got the chance, the first thing they did was strip away that individual mandate, because that's the thing that most people were complaining about, including myself. So that needed to go. It had a lot of other things that was wrong with it, but that was the main thing for me.
It was just a filler. It was a filler plan. It wasn't a plan of like actual, it was a filler, because most doctors who didn't want to carry it, what did they do? They just moved out of that specific zone that you were in order to have to carry it. So if Chris lived in one specific part of Houston, and when he would go online to see who would take him in that, most of the doctors were fleeing. They were fleeing. And I'm sure I remember Black C used to hear Yvette Carnell say herself, when she signed up for it, what would happen? She'd go and they're like, yo, this doctor's not here any longer. So it didn't even make sense from the beginning. If it ain't going to be free universal health care, it doesn't make sense from the beginning. And that's just a fact. And so all these people are clowns.
I believe he thought it was popular because it was something that Hillary Clinton was actually discussing and trying to get done. So I think he kind of picked up the mantle from her with this whole universal health care thing. And then it turned into, well, it was the Affordable Care Act that turned into Obamacare and all this other goofy shit. But I think that's where it actually originated. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe it originated with Hillary Clinton.
No, you're right. It originated with who actually did it, Mitt Romney, because of the wealth gap in Massachusetts, right? Because
right. That was the blueprint. That was the blueprint for it.
There was no money. There's no money. See, one thing about if you go to Boston, you'll see like the only money is old money. There's no new money in Boston. And so when you look at the wealth gap in Boston, especially amongst black to white families, you're looking at $225,000 to $5, $8. So an older way to get a proper healthcare is to have people buy into a universal healthcare. And by it being a Commonwealth state, it was a little bit easier for them to manipulate that. But that was it. Like, the only other person that came before him that was on that tip, if you remember, was John Kerry going against Bush in the second term. When, that's when you got the flip-flopper thing, right? But like I said, man, this show was just to like talk about like these people, man. Matter of fact, before that Andrew Gillum, because this is what I want to talk about. Another thing about these dudes, these boule people, and these politicians, stop blaming us for your preferences. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I think everyone on this stage do not care if Andrew Gillum's bisexual. None of us.
And they're going to say,
nope.
Right? I don't care. But if you get caught before we find out you're that, just say you like don't blame us like he about to do in this clip, or don't blame the government like how he did in the clip, and don't blame your Aunt Lucy and like everybody else and then you give us this milquetoast. Oh, I was planning to go for 30 minutes and he slipped me a Quaalude and like. Man, play that. What minute mark was it? Like the 10-minute mark?
Andrew, don't put that on us. Like you put yourself. And it's coming from a place of.
There's always been.
Love you, Andrew, but I know people are watching this and they're going to say, "Well, Andrew, don't put that on us. Like you put yourself in a situation."
Right.
What would you say to those people?
Well, I'm not sure. There's been lots of situations for me since 2018.
Which situation you talking about, sir?
But if Miami were the example, I would understand how someone could be hurt. Now, you can't be more hurt than me.
Or absolutely.
Right? You can't be more angry, more disappointed, more let down, more whatever than me. You don't need to evoke my wife or my children as a way to help me get to that emotion. Right. It's not an appendage. It runs through my blood. What I would say, if I were telling the truth about the situation, I would compare it to you deciding that you want to go out to a club for whatever reason, forgiving your motivation. But the main motivation was you wanted to have a good time.
Absolutely.
You wanted to be seen, enjoy yourself for whatever opportunity you could. And when you were there, someone slipped you a drink of Quaalude, and everything from the point of you having had that drink to you waking up the next day is a mystery to you. If we were of different genders, we might talk about this even more differently. But I made a choice to go somewhere at 5 o'clock in the afternoon with the expectation of leaving in 30 minutes. And after my drink, I don't have a memory for 6 hours, and every picture, every video, everything we've collected since that was taken of me shows me for the duration of that time, lifeless looking, or with no ability to give consent, approval, or anything else. And so put myself in that situation. Yes, we all make choices. I chose this gas station to get gas, and I know they sometimes shoot it up. I chose this highway express over this one thinking it would get me there quicker. So yes, we all make choices. But if you get in an accident along the way, I'm not going to say that you want to go to the club, something happened to you, whatever, but it was your fault because you put yourself in the situation. What you put yourself in the situation to do was to enjoy yourself, to have a good time, to dance. And what resulted from that was something that looked very, very different. And I put it that way, Charlamagne, because I think we all have to start to consider the people living, making mistakes, thriving as relatable to our circumstances. You made a choice to go to a club, and I don't blame you for that. And if something happens at that club that did not have your permission, your awareness, your co-creation, no, I'm not going to berate you for having made the decision to go dance.
But between that and your situation with the FBI, did you realize how targeted you were?
I had a sense of it, but I knew my actions.
I just want to say, we're here to promote this podcast.
This is why it's a great podcast.
You about to take
you can stop it.
all
you're right,
the stuff
you're right.
You can stop it. Yo, did you hear him say that the government was at the FBI? So the FBI is worried about Andrew Gillum, as he would say, just going out to dance and being seen for 30 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Yo, Dr. G, you are a psychiatrist, a doctor, a clinician. Was that Negro-splaining or what? Tell me, what was that? You heard the spill, right? So he's trying to explain to us why it's not his fault that he went to a homosexual club to go dance, and then someone slipped him a Quaalude, and he woke up, and that's all he remembers, right? Does that sound authentic to you, or that just sounds like splaining?
I would say splaining. He's a grown man. I mean, why would you go to a homosexual bar to dance when you could have just went to any bar?
I agree with that. Well, remember when he was interviewed on Tamara Hall, he said that's when he came out as being bisexual. But here's the thing. Okay, let's just say grown man, but we're going to say politician. What politician is going to accept a random drink from a random person, right? Without actually like vetting the person that he gets it from. And you're a politician. You were running for governor. You know, obviously the election was over at the time, but you were running for governor. You don't have the wherewithal to vet a random drink from a random person and then to blame it on everybody except it was just my choice to go out and dance and have a good time. And I just wanted to, right? Like, what was that? Like, what was that?
I think he had been tormented and his soul was just so tormented. He was just looking for a way to come out. He's been wanting to come out. I mean, this isn't anything new for him. He's known all long time that he's been gay, bisexual, whatever you want to call it. No.
But what's the problem with just saying like, yo, y'all, like I was going out there to get my groove on? Because listen, first of all, Quaaludes. And if you look at, I wish we were sharing the screen, because if you look at the picture of the bedroom when they found him, it was drug paraphernalia all over the place. So you telling me the guy slipped you one Quaalude, but then the guy who slipped you the one Quaalude was just using drugs while plowing you? Drugs, plow you? I don't know. I don't know if anybody else want to chime in on that. I just thought that was a crazy thing to say.
I think it was all spin, pretty much. That's all. I mean, he was being a politician. That's what they do. You know, a lot of sideways double talk. He was trying to spin it. They probably had a few meetings about it after the fact, after he woke up with his bussy all over the place. You know, it's like, how do we fix this? And they discussed it, and they said, well, you're going to have to say that, somebody slipped you a Mickey, and, and figure it out from there. People feel some sympathy for people who were drugged, and they got a lot of date rape going on. So maybe play that angle. I think that's where it's coming from. It's spin. Like just be real. You know what I mean? Just be real and say, look, I had a hankering, and I went to do my thing, and I ended up unconscious. Homeboy tapped me out. I was unconscious, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
The thing about it, man, for the most part, the truth just sounds different from a lie. When someone is speaking, it just does. Like with the truth just sounds different. It just has a different ring to it.
Yeah, because it goes around it goes around, and it's like if you notice what he did, he gave you about 3.5 minutes of rhetoric that had nothing to do with what he got caught doing to turn it around. Just to say, I just wanted to dance and have a good time. But what was the other stuff you were saying before that? I wanted to be seen, and the people that abandoned me, and I gave you jobs, and it was just like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Started sulking.
Right. And since we have the beautiful Dr. G, real quick before we go, Dr. G, because we've been on for about an hour and a half, and we were just playing different clips of Democratic Shills, vote shaming us into being a part of the Democratic Party this go around because of Biden. As a woman, do you see in your peers Black women still going for this sister girl magic, Kamala over everything mentality, or do you see a ground shift? Not amongst us, meaning our immediate peer. I'm just talking about in your workplace or outside of your home. Do you still see Black women still ground swelling on Kamala?
I absolutely do. And
oh, Lord Jesus.
Yeah, it's gut wrenching, but yeah, I do. I mean, some of us just don't get it.
Is it white women as well, or just Black women?
I think I've just paid attention more so to the sisters as opposed to, the white women. I haven't really done it, but a lot of them are for him as well. I think. I mean, for Kamala too.
What are they saying though to you about Kamala that resonates with them?
Not really much. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know. The first woman president, and a lot of like the white women, I would say, probably aren't really looking at the color of her. It's just the fact that she's a female. And the Black women are more looking at the things that they can relate to, like, oh, it's a sister, so they think. And so their thoughts are so distorted that they still believe she's a sister, and she's not. So
I agree with that. I just, I'll be baffled by it. I'm just trying to wrap my head around how a Black woman who's seen this woman say, I ain't gonna do nothing for Black people. No. Like, do y'all understand how the Indian in her voice came out when she said that? But I ain't gonna do nothing for Black people. No. The order in aisle 7 is just like, I don't get it, man.
Yeah.
If you could find that clip, Obsession, where she said, I'm not going to do nothing for Black people, if you play that, you could hear the accent come out of
in the damn podcast. I'm literally ready to leap across this chair at you.
That's that Angela RYE. But Dr. G, man, I'm not gonna lie. I told Black C this yesterday. I still think Trump is gonna win, but I'm worried about I'm sincerely worried about another 4 years under Kamala and Biden. I'm sincerely worried about that. I don't know how this country stands on it. I don't.
She's gonna fall apart. It's gonna fall apart if he wins.
I agree, Chris, because the naval and army power that America is going to be in deep trouble if the longer you keep allowing people who have no alliance to this country just to come in, flood these cities, flooding major cities. And this is not me putting on a tinfoil kufi and being a conspiracy person, but like you just see how they're acting amongst the citizens, like calling us lazy, telling us you don't deserve America, like all this wild stuff they're doing. You don't know what an insurrection looks like. You're letting millions of them in, millions, like not thousands. You're letting millions of them in.
The greatest disparity. And we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this. Any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No, because
No.
And you know what? She kept her promise like a month.
Yeah.
She kept her promise. She kept her promise.
When she, when she said that, she went into her sister girl voice.
Yeah.
In vernacular. I'm not going to sit here and say, no, child, no, girl. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, the issue for me is that I agree that unless something like out of left field happens, I don't see Biden running it back at all. I don't see Kamala Harris as strong enough candidate as we've talked about, you know what I'm saying, to carry the ball across the goal line.
No.
But
no.
The issue is to the point that Dr. G was making about the thought process, you know what I'm saying, is that it's just going to continue. So it isn't the end of the thought process of the idea that, we're going to allow somebody who's segueing through our identity to cross the goal line for us and then embrace them just simply because we want to embody or live in a sense vicariously through them and claim that they're Black, right? So that's at the crux of it. And I will give some credit to the fact that she's done a good job with the dressing. I mean, she went to a historical HBCU. She's joined the sororities. She's hanging around with all of the right cliques as far as, her class of people and everybody. She ran around with Willie, got some credibility there. You know what I'm saying? So I do understand at the end of the day the confusion on the part of our people, though I don't accept it, not at this part of my life. I once was confused too with regards to Barack Obama and not really understanding, certain aspects of identity.
All of us. Yeah.
Yeah, right. For sure, all of us. So, it's I feel safe in saying that everybody on this panel understands it, although it's not something that we are accepting of. But I don't see that changing without some form of education politically and also identity or some type of education system or means to be able to spread that information throughout Black America, more specifically the voting constituency.
Well, Black people like slogans, so let me give us one before we get out of here. And it's not even crazy. It's not even crazy, but we love slogans. So for this election cycle, it is, when it comes to Kamala Harris, it is money over melanin. Okay. We have to put the money first. Money over melanin. That's how we vote. Money over melanin.
MOM. That's
money over melanin. Listen. I'm look. In the famous words of my dad, and when it comes to these illegal migrants, my slogan is "Get them niggas
out of here."
Get them. Listen, I'm telling y'all, man. Like I was telling, I told Black C this the other night when we did the Trump versus Biden show. I was like, yo, when I was leaving Madison Square Garden 2 weeks ago, and I saw that Nicaraguan family under that white blanket. Listen, 4 years ago, I'd have been like, oh my God, look at these poor kids. Now I was like, man, I don't care. I was just like, why are you here? Like, that's just how I felt. It was just like, why are you guys here though? Right? And then think about this. Why do I have to see you here when I'm just leaving something that I just paid way more than I was supposed to, which is Madison Square Garden, to see these Knicks play the Bulls And then I got to see on my left side, a Nicaraguan, well, let's just say Central American family under a white blanket, and it was cold that night. And then to my right side, another Central, and now you hear an interpreter saying like, yo, just right here, right now. Like, meaning like, this is where y'all gonna be tonight. But why? Why are you here?
Right.
And that's the thing, like.
Doing the same shit you would be doing in your own country.
Right. And then that's my thing. And then it's like, and then so the one thing, and this is why I tell Black Seed all the time, from having so many friends all over the world, right? The one thing they do this time that, because usually American media is sprayed across the world, especially what we would call big topics, right? When you're talking about like things that are shaking the world. This migrant crisis is not being talked about in other countries, bro. I'm telling y'all. I'm talking about to even Canada, even Toronto don't hear about it. Because like I said, one of the people I was with at that Knicks game was from Toronto. I was like, yo, this is going on down here. Now that person is in New York City every 3 to 4 months and didn't even know this was going on. I'm like, yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.